Hello everybody, welcome to another random live. Just because I came across something and I thought I wanted to share it, but couldn't be bothered with all the editing, so I thought I'd do a live instead. Good to see so many people in the chat already. Thank you for all being here. Hawkins and Miss Worm in there moderating. Well, Miss Worm's moderating. Hawkins is just walking around with a spanner for no reason. And Rift Security in the house as well. Good to see you all and all the members in the house. Good to have you. So I'm going to talk a little bit, show you a couple of videos, talk a little bit more, and then if anybody's interested, I will open the floor up and send a public invite out and you can join me. And we can chat either about the subject we're talking about or everything else that's going on in the world, because there's plenty at the moment. So let's get our little ticker across the bottom. There we go. Okay, so we're going to jump into this. So this, I spotted this the other day. It was an X post that somebody had shared. I shared it myself on X, so people will have spoilers if they already saw that the other day. But this is from the National Protective Security Authority. Okay, so who they are. The National Protective Security Authority, we are the National Technical Authority for Physical and Personal Security. As part of the security service MI5, we make the UK more resilient to terrorism and state threats. So you can guarantee they've already started watching, and I'm already getting checked off on a watch list because I've pulled this up. So don't forget capitals or super chats in the comments, because while I'm going through this, there's a chance I'm going to miss stuff. So if it's a question or something like that, then you've got them options and hopefully I won't miss it. The reason I want to look at it and the reason I found it was this: protect your home. Now everyone's always saying they want to talk about home defense. All preppers, all they ever want to talk about is home defense, and we know that's very difficult in the UK to discuss it without, big red flags for YouTube or from the government themselves. However, this is government guidance. This government guidance is for a certain type of people. I'm just going to quickly whiz to the bottom. It should be highlighted. There you go. If you are a high-risk individual, rough translation, elites and politicians and things like that. So I'm going to link all these in the description after the live has ended, of course. And there's PDFs that I will also upload to the Discord group, because they are some really handy stuff. How do I join the Discord group? Miss Worm has posted the link there. Use that link and you should be able to get in. Right, so we're not going to read the whole thing, you guys can read, but the introduction, it's about keeping the home safe, things like that. Your own behaviour and routine, establishing routine, making sure your home is secure when you're in the house during the day, etc. Checking for signs of a break-in before you're entering the property. Physical security measures in place at your home. Understand security and already in place and check it's operating efficiently. And it goes into the outer perimeter of your home, the internal and external lighting, garages, outbuildings, sheds, doors, windows, patios, etc. So it's quite detailed of what it goes into, talking about having home safes, talking about having safer areas, which is essentially a panic room. Seen the super chats. Super chats are going to get read out later, but probably is not yours, Brian. If you mention the P word and it's only a £2 super chat, it's not going to get read out. So the first video I'm going to show you, hopefully you get the audio as well. So have a look at this. This is where the copyright strikes hit me and I get demonetized, but who cares? Let me know what you think of this.
We all have things that we need to protect. prized objects, valuable information, loved ones. People in public life may face threats to their personal safety and security. In an attack situation, knowing what to do is important. Every meter and every second counts. By installing detection, deterrence, and delay measures, you can help protect you and your home. Under attack, standard doors such as UPVC, timber, and composite are particularly susceptible to intrusion. Bifold, patio, and French doors are also vulnerable. Typically, glazing can also be breached. Through upgrading or retrofitting your windows and doors, you can delay attackers and buy yourself valuable time. You can increase the amount of delay your doors affords you by upgrading the fabric of the door to a more robust one, such as hardwood timber doors and frames, steel or timber with steel inserts, changing or removing any glazing panels in the door, adapting and improving your locking hardware and hinges to be stronger and more durable. Windows can be strengthened by changing the type of glazing or retrofitting the glazing to become more robust under attack, enhancing the frames to increase strength, increasing the fixings from the frame into the wall to ensure structural integrity. By adhering to good procedures and installing detect, deter, and delay measures throughout your home, you can help to protect yourself and your loved ones. For more information about personal security and protecting those in public life, please visit the NPSA or Protect UK websites.
So, there you go. What do you think of that? It's quite extreme, the measures to protection, considering when you look at the government guidance for general citizens, they don't even talk about locking your door. Not once. But the plastic paneling, the PVC style paneling on the windows, so you couldn't get through, the secured door, and I mean, them guys were going at it with the sledgehammers, and it didn't look like they were pulling the blows for the camera. They looked like they were really going at it. This guy can't swing a hammer for toffee. He was still going for it. Yeah, it's very interesting, I thought, and they've got guidance and documents that show you what they've actually done to protect it, but I just feel like, why is this only for certain people? You know, you go for a government job, you go for a high up government paid job, and this is part of your induction, as it were. If you look at the start here, it tells you, there you go, time to read 7 minutes. So it's like an induction form that you would get going into work. So we'll see the video here. You shouldn't get the sound now, but did anyone else notice the other stuff they didn't talk about? So let's see them first come in to the property. And this is where they get in, no problem. This is Joe Bloggs' house, not somebody protected. And then the second time round, what they don't discuss is the other stuff that's in place as well. So there we go. So it's immediately, it's not a security fence, but there's a psychological barrier of having a closed gated front, and it makes you less of a target than somebody with an open driveway. Also, this was paved. We all love nice fancy paving, but now it's gravel, so you can hear somebody approaching. So there's two very simple, obvious changes that anyone could make. Yet they don't talk about it in the video, but that has been a change. You see his feet there on the gravel, and then there's a Ring doorbell camera, etc. And the gates that block the alleyway, just creating that extra barrier before they get round, and then obviously the door and the window security, which they spoke about. quickly glancing to see if there's any questions or comments before I move on. When SHTF happens, MPs and VIPs will be the first relocated to safe places. Alleged safe places, yes. Only amateurs have a letterboxes. Can you link in the description? I certainly will. At the end of the video, I'll put all the links in. I will also put them into the Discord group as well as the PDFs that are on top of it as well. Can't jack your vehicle up on gravel. There you go. There's another one. I didn't even think of that one. Beware of the dog. Yeah, beware of the dog signs are actually really good, even if you don't have a dog. It's a slight deterrent, you know, to think they'll be in there. Anyway, so that's preparing the outside of the house, and then this bit is lockdown. So this is where we start thinking about, well, they are starting to think about panic rooms. Rapidly locking your doors and windows, making sure you have locks that can be easily closed. Use thumb turn locks or make sure keys can be easily reached. Go to a safer area within your home. And this is a link through to a PDF that we'll look at shortly. And then they've got this second video, which is a bit more of the family's point of view of the same incident. So let's have a look at that. Nothing like a bit of fear to sell it to you, right?
What they do is they just take these great big mouthfuls and they sieve out all the water.
These are places with a blatant disregard for journalistic freedoms.
People in public life may face threats to their personal safety and security.
It's not about me. I have only one life and I know what I'm doing. I'll speak out for the people.
Dahlia? Are you still there?
Sorry, my son was coming into the room.
That's fine.
What was I saying?
She's still talking on the computer.
Oh, okay, you just
Did
sit.
you know
Sit.
that sharks have no bones?
No.
They're made out of ears and noses.
What's so funny?
Apparently sharks are made out of noses.
And ears.
Really?
You done?
Cartilage. They're all cartilage, like nose, but not... Oh, my God. Get upstairs.
Mom, I'm scared.
In an attack situation, knowing what to do is important.
Police.
Every meter and every second counts.
Quicker.
You must contact the police, but self-agreed procedures to contact an alarm receiving centre should also be considered.
Police?
Just stay there. Look after your
Is the attack
brother.
still happening?
Yes, they're still here.
Hello, are you the key holder?
Yes, there are people trying to get into the house.
Do you know how many attackers there are?
No, I
What's your code word?
Little linemen.
Thank you for clearing
How long until you're here?
Police are en route.
Please hurry.
the police, or do you need us to do
No,
that for
no,
you?
my husband is talking to them now.
Stay on the line.
Everything's going to be okay, boys.
Inform me if anything changes.
Are you in your safer area?
Yes, we are.
Stay inside, wait for the police to arrive.
Okay.
With prior planning, installing deter and delay measures such as enhancing your windows and doors, adding detection measures such as CCTV and security alarms, and developing a safer area or place, along with having a well-known and practiced plan, you can help to protect your home and keep your loved ones safe.
So, there we go. Let's just have a look at what you guys are saying. Put a sign on, beware of booby traps. Most people don't have spare rooms, let alone safe rooms. True, very true. Boiling oil and certain kitchen utensils would come in handy. Pat Riot. No, she should ring the police. He is going to... No, she should ring the police. He should be going for the thingy bobs. Okay, right. I get you. It didn't look like he was willing to protect anyone. I think she was the alpha of that family, if there was one. Don't go upstairs unless you have to get away, get out in case of fire, and don't marry a beta male. Notice how the guy was the first up the stairs. Women and children first. Where Well, she shouldn't be broadcasting her security password on the internet for a start. No, I mean, so obviously that's just the first video is showing you the security, or showing them the security, and then obviously that one is more for impact to say this could be you. Yeah, you are right. The guidance of going upstairs on 3-4 stories, you could end up in a trapped situation. But I'm guessing the red button on the wall and the panic and the police and the fact they are a VIP, they wouldn't be waiting 4 hours till 2 o'clock in the morning for one police officer to show up and just give them a crime reference number. I'm guessing they would have actual police service. So that's the difference, right? That they'd have the police, the sirens turned up. Nobody mentioned the fact that we were hearing sirens after 1 minute and 30 seconds. Anyone ever seen that police response time where they live? Oh my God, what has the world come to? Out of the way, you cowardly woman and children. Oh, giving the guy some stick. So anyway, into this, let's get to the end of this and then we'll open the floor up. Anyone that wants to join. There is also the PDFs that are attached. This one is preparation and use of safer areas to protect high-risk individuals. So you can see this is like the bathroom that they went to. What is a safer area? Sheltering if your home is attacked. Communicate with the police and await arrival. Activate any security devices and monitor the threat via home security camera system. How big the area should be. Where should it be located? How should a safer area be protected against forced entry? The primary requirement is for the occupants to remain out of sight of the attacker and to be protected by doors, windows and walls that are resistant against forced entry. So basically, you could make a little safe room if you do have a upstairs little bedroom, little bathroom job by just putting a heavyweight fire door on it, right? It is just going to reduce the time. In doing so, the vulnerability to range of attack types such as firearms, see firearms attacks below, will reduce but not eliminate. In relation to the protection and mitigation required, you should consider what type of threat, how long should a safer area keep me safe. So I'll post this PDF, like I say, in the Discord group so people can have a full-on read of it. Quite interesting. And samples of where you should set it up. The other PDF link to this is kind of from the first video. This is the kind of tools, what are they saying for this? Attack tools. Knife, machete, hand axe, claw hammer, club hammer, sledgehammer, fire extinguisher, crowbars, screwdriver, self-gripping pillars, steel wedges and wooden wedges. I don't think the wedges are attack tools, they are defense tools. So I'm not sure that's quite right. But yeah, this goes through the door security, the different methods for that, fitting the locks, etc. Casement window, how to do all that. I did like the idea of them windows. It is something I might actually consider. There's the there's the window. And here's the internal piece that's there. It's just looks like it's just screwed into the plastic or braced onto the wall. Is that braced onto the the sill and then into the plastic on the side? So there you go. All the details there. Loads of information. But I'll post the PDFs, but you're only allowed to use them if you're a VIP or an elite. Or in the public eye. I don't think the size of my channel classes as public eye. But that is that. Let's have a look. See what we've got here. We had 4 police try to turn up at 3 in the morning when we had a break-in. Think they were bored. But how quick? When did you call it? How long did that take them to get there? Police and emergency services won't turn up for commoners in SHTF. That's why we have to be our own first responders in everything. An ex-chief constable did say, defend yourselves, worry about the law afterwards. There you go. Somebody kicked off in Vodafone shop in my town, and 3 police vans and 2 cars and K9 turned up, yet they are never free when you really need it. There you go. Big taxpayers though, Vodafone, right? I couldn't see the point of putting the kids in the bath. Most modern baths are made of plastic. True, but it's just an extra layer, right? If it's a projectile that's coming through the door, you never know. Could glance or shear. Every little helps. Is the bathroom built with concrete walls? If not, they're coming in. I know, yeah. Giant thick fire door, but then wafer thin studded walls. That'd be great, wouldn't it? The wedges are for prying the doors. Okay. I was thinking more wedges for defensive, but thank you for that. Let's close that. I'm going to put the guest link invite in the chat. You want to come on and talk about this or anything else, you're welcome to. Bear in mind, we are on YouTube. Try not to get me banned. It would be nice. When I lived on Anglesey, police night shift consisted of 2 police in 1 car for the entire island. It might have changed since, but it was that was your lot pre-2000. When I lived in North Wales in Blaenau Ffestiniog, it was a similar situation. There was 2 officers for the whole town, basically. My philosophy has always been, I'll take one with you with me. Miss Worms there posted the Discord link. Minutes. Wow. There you go. They must have been round the corner doing something else. Did he miss anything? No, just how to secure your home in the UK, but if you're one of the elites. 133 in the chat now. Only 40 people have hit the like. Appreciate the people that have. Anybody who wants to join me, you're welcome to. The StreamYard link is in the chat. 'Tis open mic night. So the discussion doesn't have to be this. We've obviously had the ongoing Ukraine situation. I went live yesterday with the video cameras and stuff. So whatever you want to talk about right now. Chef,
what's going on, Mike?
How are you doing?
Good. I'm not driving this time.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we just I was basically going over. I've got the MI5 Security Authority how to secure your home, but only for people who have VIPs.
And brick walls and steel doors and
yeah. But this advice is only for the elites. Literally, if you look at the UK like public information, they don't even tell you to lock the door on it. They're not once.
Well, they don't want you to lock the door because that means you're a some phobe or ist or something. So all I know is in North America, most of the houses built post 1995, you could probably break into most of them with a pocket knife. The door may be secure. Hold on, my dog is doing stupid stuff. The doors may be secure and made of metal, but the mid walls rarely have sheathing on them. It's like plastic siding or vinyl siding, insulation, 2x4s, and sheetrock.
Yeah, that's like the interiors of our houses at the moment, like our new builds. It's at the outside's a layer of brick.
A hole in the side of my neighbor's house, right next to the doorknob. Reach in and just turn the doorknob and open.
Yeah, My brother's got a new build, and at the bottom of his stairs is a wall into a small bathroom. I thought if I was drunk and fell down them stairs, I'm not hitting the wall. I'm landing in the bathroom. I'm just going to go through that wall.
Well, if you're
Right, Brian,
drunk-
how you doing?
if you're that drunk, you kind of need to be in the bathroom.
Not bad,
So you
yourself.
put your face in the bowl.
Not bad, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, good, good. How's it going, Chef?
I didn't hear you.
That good, huh?
Second. What's that?
I'm saying that good, huh?
Not good. I'm doing pretty good.
Good, good.
It's Friday for me. It's Friday, 5:30. I'm done with work. I just got home. I'm like, oh, Mike's on. I think I'll grab a beer and hang out with Mike.
There you go. Good stuff, Brian. What do you think of the elite advice?
I think their problems are different from our problems. Your problems are slow response time. Your problems are probably staying in a less affluent area from them. They've probably got better quality windows and doors for a start, and they're going to get a better response time.
Yeah. But what about them not actually giving us the advice? You know what I mean? It's they don't even tell us to lock the doors on the preparation site, right?
It's fine. It's just a matter of mind. It's just a case of mind over matter. They don't mind, and you don't matter.
Yeah, I'm getting some sort of reverb. Have you got a mic on, or what are you using as a mic at the moment? Is that even on?
I thought it was me, so I shut my mic off.
No, I was getting it as well. Sounds like you've got water in there, Brian. Have you spilled Pepsi on your mic?
Oh, hang on.
Sorry, that's a good one. I do watch all the time.
There we go. Is that better?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
better, yeah. There you go. You might have just been breathing in it or the fan hitting it. Have you got 3 million fans on again?
There's a fan right behind it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
probably what we can hear.
Can you still hear the fan?
Every so often, just like a... Just turn your fan off and sweat.
Now, if you're
nice.
gonna make that, you might as well just talk through the fan so you can do that. Hello, how you doing?
There's shit everywhere in here at the moment.
No,
I did that video earlier, so there's crap everywhere.
your Timu plates will stop everything but a bullet, right?
They'll stop everything right up to 556 or 762. I've checked, tried them.
You weren't wearing it at the time, though, obviously. So
And no, because I'm still here. But the Kevlar body armour would stop subsonic rounds as well. Pistol caliber, so it's not bad for the price point.
I loved your attempt at a disclaimer towards the end of your video where you were like, but it's just a showpiece. It's just for collectors. It's just for interest. It's not for anything sinister.
Well, they're not. The problem is, it would be naive to think that nobody watches our videos or content, and it's very easy to put a negative spin on it. Even this conversation talking about people's homes being jacked over and shit,
Yeah.
it would be very easy to hijack and say, oh, you know, right-wing hoodlums plotting people's houses getting kicked in and stuff.
I've just said MI5 about 20 times in a 20-minute video. Somebody's watching this now. Hi,
Oh, they're
guys.
listening by now. FBI and CIA. Okay, we got the whole gang is here now.
It's all right for you, Mike. I'm too pretty for prison.
That's them titties.
It's all fun and game till somebody gets pink eye.
Do you get any government guidance on securing your home over there, Chef Tech?
No. You
No?
just get make sure you have 2 or 3 days. And my dog is, as soon as I start talking, he barks. Yeah, like 2 or 3 days worth of food and that. No, nothing out of the ordinary. Just we all lock our doors at night, or most of us do. Some refuse to, but they're stupid. But anyway, yeah, we got that. I don't live in the city. I live out in the burbs, so my property is out in the country. So I don't even worry about my cabin out there. I got 2 good neighbors.
Yeah. And you could probably see people coming from quite a while off, right?
Nah, I got a couple trail cams that are web based, so I get notification. I can't talk to them, but man, I guarantee I'll have their picture if anybody goes there that doesn't belong there. I've
There
called
you go.
one of my neighbors. I'm like, what what were you doing down by my cabin? He's like, dude, you did just see the dog run by? I was like, no, actually I did. He was too fast for the camera to catch it. He's like, don't worry. He's like, he waved at the camera too. He gets down there and he waves, and then he disappeared and never came back because he found his dog down by the stream. So
I love that you can get a picture of the intruder, and you can. So then you've got something to show the officer. This is what he looked like before, officer.
Yeah, and I got so we do something in Pennsylvania called purple paint. So if you put a purple paint stripe, it's a specific color purple. It's minimum 2 inches wide and 16 inches high on a tree or on a post. That means hunting could be going on this land. Stay off. Basically, it's like, you know, I should put a sign past that says, if you're reading this sign, you're no longer trespassing. You're a target. So, but no, everybody abides by it. I mean, my neighbor put on his post, the same post I had put in by the guys that did the survey. He put purple paint on his post on my side. I put purple paint on my post on his side. So, and we both know.
Is that common knowledge for everyone? Like if there was just random ramblers,
as far
or
as I know, it's a Pennsylvania, United States thing. It might be in other states too, but I only knew about it because I bought property in Pennsylvania, and I saw purple paint. And I asked one of my friends. He's like, "Oh, go get a couple cans. They sell that specific color at the big box store. It's hunter's paint. You spray it on your tree. Just go." I walked my whole 14 acres around the perimeter and sprayed it on every tree along the edge. And I went through like 10 cans of spray paint and probably got like 3 or 4 ticks on me, but it's there and they all see it and nobody bothers me. I mean, if somebody's hunting on their land and they hit a deer, but the deer runs onto my property, they need to just call me and say, hey, I missed shot. It's on your property. It ran. I can't see it, but I know where it went. I'm following the blood trail. Are you okay with me showing up? I'm like, yeah, go get it, dude. I don't want it, especially if you didn't kill it in one shot and it's running. The adrenaline flavor in the blood is just terrible. So
really,
it's horrible. Yeah, if it's not a quick dispatch on any animal that you're going to eat, the adrenaline flows. If they run, the adrenaline, it just pumps through the veins and the meat gets dark and just has this horrid flavor to it. Now, some people don't care. I can't stand it. I think it's disgusting.
Ah, well, I didn't know that. I learn something new every day.
That's why you have guys from USA on every now and then instead of your little group of it. No, I'm just kidding.
Instead of us cavemen over in England with our sticks and stones.
Yeah. I don't know if I can.
England, I dare say.
UK.
Other parts of the UK, yes, thank you.
Right,
thank you, Michael.
Right. Sorry about that. I forgot about the wildlings north of the wall.
Shocking.
No, it's a subject we always struggle with, home defence, when we talk on the firesides because of the restrictions and stuff in the UK. And everybody wants to talk about it. It's funny, everyone wants to talk about it, but now I've brought it up as a subject. There's no questions appearing in the chat. But if we were talking about something completely innocent, somebody would be asking me how to modify a crossbow into a million different things. So, Brian's froze in a very happy, mellow state. There he is. 50p in the meter. So, home defense wise, Brian, talking like security wise, not like weaponry wise, do you, what is going on?
Yep, I'm twice. Sorry. I'm on my iPad. My dog's pissing me off, and yeah, there we go. Yep.
I was like confused then.
Yeah, it's like, there's 2 dogs here, and I let them both. Who let the dogs in? Anyway, I put in the private chat. I threw my email in there. If you want to tag it, feel free to send me a link instead of posting it publicly because we know how that can get.
Yeah. Cool. Appreciate it. Yeah, Brian.
Don't let Scottish Prepper have it because he's going to send me like Pepsi advertisements and stuff.
That's the least of your problems I would send you. Don't worry about it. It would be way worse.
No, he'll be looking for your address because when he finds out you've got a freeze dryer.
Oh, is he the one that's into the? Okay, yeah. Well, we'll have to talk offline about that.
I'm moving in.
Yeah, moving in. I'll help you. I'll help you figure out how to use one. Although there's stupid money over there.
Yeah.
It's about $4,000 here.
Yeah.
Geez, I paid $1,600 for mine, and that's just the freeze dryer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the supplies that go with it: the bags, the oxygen absorbers, trays, dividers, all the extra stuff you want, and the scale. So I can give you some insights if you decide to get one. Let Mike know. We'll get together online and we can talk about it, because there's things that everybody does online. It's like, oh, I got the heat gun, I got this, I got that. Yeah, I do too. Guess what? They ain't worth a crap.
You tried some dehydrated food the other day, didn't you, Brian?
I did.
The freeze dried food.
The
What'd you get? Mountain House?
I've tried that. I'll show you 2 seconds.
No, it was like somebody had done it. It's almost like somebody had done it from home. They were like in little blue baggies with labels.
Oh,
on.
okay. That's what I do. Mine are in silver Mylar bags. I just did a whole batch of 7-bean chili, and that got freeze dried. That's ready to go.
Nice.
What's that?
That's the egg, is it?
So it's Freeze Dry Wholesalers. It's an American company.
Yeah. Oh, scrambled egg. Oh, sorry. I know what freeze dry. Did you try them yet?
Yeah, they were good.
Okay, so they're cooked eggs. They're freeze dried, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I see. I freeze dry raw eggs. That's a whole nother. I did a video on that. I think it's on my Chef Tech channel. But yeah, I do raw freeze dried eggs, because then I put them in a jar, and I can take a couple tablespoons out, put it in another jar, add some cold water to it, shake it up, let it sit for like 6-7 minutes. I can make omelets, I can make scrambled eggs, I can make whatever I want out of it, and they'll last me decades. So, and they're local eggs too. They weren't from the stores. A friend of my wife's she has 27 chickens and could not give them away fast enough for like 2 years. I'm like, bring it. She was bringing home 36 eggs a week home, and the woman still had more. I'm like, I'll freeze dry them. And she's like, okay. She took them she went on vacation. She took a jar with her. She's like, these are great. Open a jar up, throw a couple tablespoons in a pot in a little dish of cold water, let them rehydrate. It looks just like you cracked eggs and scrambled them. And then she throws it in the pan and makes her little cheese omelets and stuff. And she loves it. I love it. I think it's great. I keep a bunch at the cabin. I freeze dried cooked turkey sausages. So I got breakfast pretty much ready to go.
That was one of the other things they had bought off them was
Chicken sausages, wasn't it?
Yeah, breakfast sausages. Chicken.
Yeah, there you go. The turkey sausage.
Chicken. Aye, same.
Chicken, turkey, yeah. I freeze dried pork sausages. The fat content's pretty high, and you got to do them cooked well, but you can't crispy them. You have to leave them so they're not crisp, because that makes it more difficult for the moisture to get in. It'll come out, but getting it back in and rehydrating it makes it difficult.
It's funny you should say that. The eggs rehydrated in about 15 minutes. The sausages, you could have wrote your name on a chalkboard.
Yep.
So I left them for 24 hours soaking in the fridge, and they were fine.
So when I do my sausages, and I get Jimmy Dean sausages really cheap on sale, and they're already cooked, they're already frozen. So I throw them on the trays and freeze dry. Put like 6 in a package. I'll literally boil water and put it in there and seal the bag up. 10 minutes. I got hot sausages ready to eat because it absorbed all the water. Yeah, instead of cold water. Cold water takes forever, especially if your food's cooked. I would do even your scrambled eggs. Do it with hot water. You pull them out of a pan and eat them.
It's quite expensive. See, any freeze-dried food in the UK, it's expensive. It's bollocks. It's really bad. These were like 3 packets of the eggs and 2 packets of sausages delivered to the UK, and then got hit with import duty. In dollars, it would have worked out about $180.
Holy hell! I'm in the wrong business now. I don't do it for anybody else but me and my friends and my family. I mean,
we need to set something up, Mark. You need to start sending me to sell.
You know, I was actually swithering. There's probably enough market in it that you could buy a freeze dryer, especially even in the prepper community, and sell it.
Yeah, the problem, just like food, if you're freeze drying an edible product, there's other things involved, unfortunately, with the state and with the county, with the city, whatever, because it's food handling, it's safety, it's all these things are involved. Just because it's freeze dried, you can freeze dry bad food. Guess what? When you rehydrate it, you just rehydrated bad food. You're going to get sick.
Yeah.
The legislation would be a killer.
Oh yeah, it is. It's just stupid. So I mean, you can do candy. Candy's different over here. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm doing freeze dried Skittles." Is my favorite tagline. I didn't buy a freeze dryer to make candy out of candy.
You say the legislation would be difficult, but to be fair, I had a supplement company. Well, I have still, and it was only 2 small applications and then a visit to say where you're going to be doing it, and that's it. I got a stamp of approval
For doing what? What was the business?
Put together protein supplements and pills and things like that that are then sold for consumption.
Yeah, that's kind of different in the States here. Anything related to food, you got the local health department involved. Now, yes, I could freeze dry food and sell it to Mike. I could sell it to you. I could sell it to everybody if I wanted to privately. But unfortunately, if I sell it to somebody that I'm just sort of friends with and somebody eats it and says they got sick on it, I'm done because I'm not a business. So no insurance, no LLC, none of that stuff. You're just screwed. And then they're crawling up your butt looking at everything you're doing. I'm like, no, I just do it for friends. I do lots and lots of, we have a lot of apple orchards, like millions of acres around here. I buy fresh apples all year long, or at least when they're in season. I freeze dry apple slices. I bag them up. All my friends just love them. And because I throw cinnamon and stuff on. No sugar, just apple slices. And my mother.
I can see Brian adding up the cost of a freeze dry machine in his head as you're talking.
I mean,
You know, the problem I've got, it's $4,000, then you've got the oil and all the other stuff that goes with it. And then the cost of good meat to start with. And then you're going to have to get your mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, as we would do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then to justify $4,000 for a freeze dryer, how much food would I have to freeze dry and store to make it even worthwhile?
Yeah, when we get done here, when he goes offline, stay on. I'll take you for a tour downstairs. Mike's going, yeah, I want to see this shit.
We've got a very random question in the chat. Cold steel katana or Scottish broadsword? I would say depends on your swinging strength.
Problem with speed as well. The katana will be lighter and faster, but if you're going to go smashing it against a broadsword, it's going to have more mass. So it depends who's holding it and skill sets for each person as well.
There you go. That's a sensible answer without saying we're going to chop heads off zombies.
Your question earlier on home security, sorry, I never even answered it. Passive home defence would be, we've got a industrial grade alarm in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Front and back CCTV cameras, audio pickup, night vision, PIR spotlights.
Someone mentioned floodlights, yeah.
Fences, and yeah, that's pretty much it for passive.
Yeah. What do you think of? Did you see the videos? What do you think of the window security and the door security and stuff like that? I mean, I'm moving into a place with a steel door, with a metal like fronted door, so I mean, which is nice. But
the wife brought up a point when we were watching it before I came on, and her fear was, what if there's a fire?
Yeah.
Right.
When you're going up to the 3rd floor, you need a fire escape, right?
Well, even in any room in the house, if you're trying to get out, you're running down the stairs to get out the front or back door. Potentially, you could even break a window to get out. Never mind somebody getting in. So it's that trade-off between how likely the threat is to what passive measures you would have to take, and also, no matter what you do, all you're doing is buying time. And if it's like where I live or you live, Mike, you need to have a portcullis, cauldrons with tar, before the police would turn up in time to do anything other than pick up body parts, because that
Yeah.
video's not aimed at us.
No. The police response times are just non-existent. I mean, if you're out in the sticks, Mark, what's your kind of response time if you rang? Is it a local sheriff or is it police or state police? He's not there.
Oh, I'm sorry. My dog is. I'm trying to shut my dog up again.
All right.
So the town I'm in Maryland right now. I'm right on the Pennsylvania border. So I'm not in the city limits, but I'm literally a half a mile from the city limits. So this falls into county sheriff and state police. Fortunately, the sheriff's office is like 8 miles away, but they're always in the area. City would show up if they had to. I've seen all three at a couple neighbors' houses in the past within minutes when something happened. I mean, we got city, state, and county, and then a couple other black cars showed up too because there was some interesting stuff going on there I won't get into. Yeah. So
it's always bad when the unmarked ones turn up.
Yeah, they get out in a stute and flash something, and everybody walks away. Yeah. So I've seen that a few times around here. It's not a bad area. There's certain aspects of it these days that I don't like anymore.
Yeah. John C says modern CCTV systems give you the ability to set up an intrusion zone. So if someone enters that space, it pings it to your phone. If you set them up right. Preparing the Path has joined us. Hello.
Evening all.
Hello, mate.
Is that somebody you know, Mike?
He's been on before. He
Okay.
popped on the last open mic thing.
Just
so
making sure, because you get people tag a name, and then they pop up and start playing their things that ruin your stream, and you get banned.
All right, okay, that's fine. I have Brian on all the time. If I've not been banned yet, I'm not gonna be.
Yeah, no, not for
working on
that.
it.
We're talking for some of the video. As soon as they get on, they start playing a video. They share screen with some porno video, and immediately they happen to Shadow.
No, I don't
Really?
think you guys in the
That's why Shadow
background.
has my email address. He just sends me the link, so he knows anybody gets on. He emailed them the link.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can see
Okay.
their screens and stuff before, and if they try to share, I can authorize or not, that sort of thing. So
Right.
it's
Just making
it-
sure.
Don't authorize the porno, Mike. That's it.
it won't be anything you've not seen before, Brian.
Yeah, they can share the screen when he goes offline. You can sit there and watch all day long if you want.
I'm in the USSR. At least you might think that, as I have more pics of Lenin Stalin than half of Moscow ever had. I mean,
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay. I have a £40 dehydrator, but my kid uses the silicone things to craft with. I've got one of the dehydrators. They're good, but it's limited compared to what a freeze dryer could do.
Yeah,
for you.
but there's good reasons for both of them. So you don't make beef jerky in a freeze dryer.
No.
You bite it and just crumbs fly everywhere, and then it's just weird. So a dehydrator is great for that. Herbs, you're actually better off dehydrating fresh herbs and putting them in a jar. They last longer, or they may not last as long. But in a freeze dryer, it takes all the moisture out. So as soon as you open that jar up, humidity gets on the food and will immediately start to absorb into it. So oxygen absorbers don't take humidity out. Desiccant packs don't take humidity out of your food.
Yeah.
So yeah, dehydrating and freeze drying, two totally different sciences. Both of them have their best qualities.
Yeah. And Brian has a dehydrator
Still in the box.
that was bought for him for his birthday, and he's never even took it out of
I've
the
never
box.
opened it. I feel really bad about it because my wife bought me it, and she bought me the dehydrator, the book, spare silicon trays, and yeah, it's still in the box.
Oh, come on, dude, do something with it.
I did. I moved it to a different room.
Literally, go when you find meat if you can find it on sale, they're a good cut of beef, and it doesn't have to be super lean because you're dehydrating it, making jerky. Just soak it in a real basic, teriyaki sauce stuff. Soak it in there, let it marinate in a bag in your fridge overnight, take it out, lay it on the trays, throw it in a dehydrator. You'll have some of the best jerky because you made it and it's yours.
How
I
long
made
would that last?
well, I would have let you know, Brian, but I made some jerky and I thought, oh, this is going to be great because I can pack it all up and it'll be great, no problem. I ate the entire bag in 2 days. It was so not good.
I laughed at Bob. Bob from California. He gets on Jaren's show every now and then, and he ate 3 bags, and they were the equivalent. He did apples, avocados, and pineapple. It was the equivalent in raw weight of just chopped fruit of about 4 pounds of fruit or 2 kilos.
Yeah.
He ate it all in like one sitting. I was laughing like, dude, you really better have an extra bathroom. No, it's not bad food. I'm like, I'm not kidding you. And I talked to him the next day. I was like, well, how's the bathroom? He's like, fuck you. I'm like, I told you, it's so good. You can overeat the crap out of fruit. I have to put it in smaller bags because my daughter will do the same thing. I'll send her it's a 2-quart bag. It probably has the equivalent of like 10 apples in it. And I'll freeze dry it, and they're little chips and crisps. They're just so good. And she just sits there eating. And all of a sudden the bag's gone. Then she calls me up like the next day. She's like, could you get smaller bags, please?
So, see if you made some beef jerky and stuck it in Mylar with an oxygen absorber. How long would that last?
It depends on how good your dehydrator was and the marinade and the acid level. Maybe a year or 2. I mean, you could buy stuff in the store, and they don't put an oxygen absorber in there. They put a desiccant pack in there.
Right.
That keeps the moisture level low. It doesn't let extra moisture get out. But, yeah, that's why dehydrated beef jerky that has an expiration date on it. Usually it's no more than a year or so. And it depends on what you put in there. I mean, if you're putting all kinds of nitrates and stuff in there, which they want you to, which I never do, now you get 2 years out of it. But now you're eating chemicals. So there's that. Most of the jerky mixes you can buy ready to go, whatever company makes it. And it's like, oh, here's your mix if you want to make this particular flavored jerky. And I have a couple of them. I just don't use them anymore. And mix it with 2 pounds of thin sliced beef or chicken or turkey. And then, let it marinate overnight. And it's a dry rub, basically. You don't add water to it. And then you put on your trays and do it. But if you read the ingredients, nitrates are like the 5th ingredient. I'm like, no, I don't want nitrates. I thought I've never tried it. I might think about, now that you're making me think, I might try making jerky in the dehydrator and then freeze drying it. And then when if I rehydrate it, I'll test it out, see if it comes back to just jerky.
If I was to say to my wife I'm going into the workshop to do some jerky, she'd probably call me a pervert and hand me a towel.
You'd probably be right.
There's a good chance.
Amphia said, would you use a sub 12 foot-pound air rifle in the UK for home defence, or would that just piss off the marauders?
They're going to answer that.
I will. No, it's I've looked at it, and you've got to consider it as a less than lethal solution. That's exactly what it is. So, if it's dogs coming at you or anything like that, it might scare them off. There's also pepper balls that are the size of paintballs, which is like macing somebody from a distance sort of thing. So there's
buy them in the UK.
You can get them though.
They're illegal though. The problem he's got, just in case he thinks I'm being awkward, if you're to show good cause in Scotland, just so you might not be this part of the country. In Scotland, you need to have a shotgun, an air rifle certificate now. And if one of the reasons that even hypothetically discussed with the FAO when he comes to your house to do a home visit for an air rifle was it was for home defence, then you'll never get it.
Big red X across it.
Yeah,
spring loaded as well.
Yeah, anything at all, really? any air weapon at all in Scotland is banned unless you've got an air rifle air weapon certificate. And if it's over 12 foot-pound, you need a Section 1 firearms certificate.
You're telling me I'm going to have to get rid of my potato guns as well, then? Is it?
It's yeah. another knee-jerk reaction. But unfortunately, if you mention home defence and anything that goes boom in the UK, you'll have it taken off you. So it's a subject to avoid like the plague.
For theoretical purposes, for theoretical questions purposes, I definitely wouldn't be using that for that reason anyway. For the simple reason, marauders could be armed with something that's a bit stronger than what you've got, and if you start plinging little pellets at them, they might fire something much bigger back. Best to avoid.
You see, you all are in the UK and over in Europe right now. So over here, I'm not even having this conversation with BB guns and pellet guns.
My personal opinion would be somewhat long and spiky, but that's just me.
Yeah,
Try and
slingshot
keep them away.
with a 6mm steel ball in it would probably do more damage than a BB.
If you were to join your local archery club, I hear that's a very interesting pastime, and you could avail yourself of any target practice you can.
So is also axe throwing.
Axe throwing's become very popular in the UK recently, actually.
Yeah, I've joined my local axe throwing team. Also archery club. Also clay pigeon. So there's a few.
This makes me laugh when people talk about could there be a civil war in the UK. It would be hilarious to see what people had.
Run out throwing rocks at each other.
Yes, it's going to look like a scene from Braveheart.
It's actually really funny when I was over in the States. I was talking to a guy when I was in Magic Kingdom, funnily enough, and we were talking about firearms and how it was unfair that it was how it is in the US versus here. And the misconception is that there are no firearms in the UK and you can't own any. That's not the case. It's just it's heavily restricted. But I mean, even in the UK, you could still, if you get the right certificate, you can still walk out and buy a barrack. If you want to if you want to shoot 50 BMGs about, there's clubs and ranges in the UK for it. The same, you can have straight pull 5.56s. They just take the gas system out. So if you wanted an M4 or an AR-15, you can buy one in the UK. It's just it's got no gas system. So it's got a ridiculous cocking handle on it now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. That's what people misconstrue as well, is because they don't realise it's. I won't say it's easy, but as long as you've got the relevant background checks in place,
Same in the States here. Everybody over there thinks we can just anybody can just walk into the Walmart or big box store and just buy one and leave. No. You need ID. You got to fill out forms. They call it in, and they go on a computer and they pull it up and make sure you're not on the list to not own anything. And then and if it's a handgun, it's like a 10-day waiting period. You go in, you fill out the form, and they run the background checks. If it's a rifle, long gun, no, it's cash and carry, but you still have to fill out the forms and wait for the background check to come back. It's not like we're just like free to run in there. We're all running around with.
You say that, but in 1998, I was in Texas and I went to this Mexican market thing, and they sold everything. This guy was making Nike Air belts by literally having the stamp and doing it right in front of you, like literally, here's the piracy happening. And one of the counters had a glass counter and had 2 submachine guns in there just with a price tag on, and there was definitely no one there checking and waiting on a waiting list.
Well, so. Then you got full auto. Full auto is under its own restrictions here since 1972. You don't go into a store and that's a 1-year waiting list.
Is that like a minimum time? Yeah. No matter how big the list is, it's not just a case of it's a long list.
No, it's minimum 1 year, and if there's more people on the list, because there's only so many full auto. We call it a machine gun. We just pull the trigger and it just starts firing. But that is like one of the most highly regulated firearms in the country because there's only a certain amount of them out there. I mean, they stopped selling them to the public in 1972, so whatever was out there was out there. They're all registered, and they know you got it.
Can you get them from like second hand? I don't say second hand, but sort of like farmers markets and stuff. Are they not getting sold there as well?
No. You can't go to a farmer's market and buy a submachine gun. That just goes.
No, not a submachine gun. But can you get a firearm?
So,
from, say, for instance, a market?
Depending on the state, you can't get a pistol. Pistols are regulated in every state. Some a little less regulated than others in terms of in Maryland, you got to go down and you have to pay a fee, and they have to take your picture and fingerprints, and then you got to wait 10 days, and then you can pick up your firearm. And you have to do that every 2 years. You have to pay like $300. They started that in 2008 or 7. And that was the last handgun I ever bought. I didn't buy anything after that. I don't need any more. And but rifles, like up in pretty much if you're not from the state, like if I go to, well, actually that matters, or doesn't matter. But I can go in like a long gun, like just a Mossberg shotgun. You can put it on Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not Facebook because they won't let you do that, but you can put it in like the newspaper or want ads or whatever. And you call them up. It's like, hey, what do you got? It's like, oh, I got a Mossberg Model 17, blah, 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 pump, all this stuff. It's 20 years old. Does it work? Yeah, it works. Can I come look at it? Yeah, you can come look at it. You meet in a parking lot, usually at a police station, because you don't want somebody stealing your stuff. Then you look at it, and you can technically just pay them cash and leave. The problem is, if that gun gets used for a crime and they pull the serial number on it, the ATF will find out who the original manufacturer was. There's a paper trail. That manufacturer knows what dealer or what distributor he sold it to. That distributor knows what dealer he sold it to, and that dealer has paperwork of what person bought it. The paperwork is at the dealer, not in the Fed's hands. So
do that here.
Is with a private sale, can you get that paperwork transferred at the same time?
You don't need. See, that's the thing. That's sort of where I was going. So if I run down to meet a guy online and buy his Mossberg, it's a long gun. They won't sell you a pistol. If they do, that's illegal. But I'll buy his shotgun, and then somebody steals it from me and commits a crime with it, and they find the gun, and there's other problems involved with the crime. Then they backtrack it. They go to the manufacturer, who goes to the distributor, who goes to the dealer. The dealer has to go through all his books and find out who bought that gun. It wasn't me. And they'll find out the guy I bought it from, he bought it. And then they'll actually interview the guy to be like, where's his gun? He's like, I sold it to this guy. What guy? I don't know, just some guy in a parking lot. Well, the trail kind of ends there. Unless he knows who I am and has a text message, and then it'll come to me. What happened to it? It's like, it stole it out of the back of my car. Of course, now I'm under investigation at that point.
Yeah.
And that's where, you don't want to do that. Yeah, it happens, unfortunately. And that's what they like to call that, the gun show loophole. No, anybody at a gun show.
Yeah, that's it. The gun show. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, anybody at a gun show is a dealer, and they all have to do the paperwork, or they'll lose their license. They lose their FFL license, period. One wrong move, and boop, you're done. You never saw it again.
I was over in Utah in 2009, and I just saw a lot of that sort of thing going on. I was like, there's weapons everywhere here, like literally, like just tables full of weapons. I'm like,
yeah, but that's you don't just like hand the guy $100-200 because he has a $200 tag on anything, unless it's an antique. That kind of falls in. There's all kinds of weird bylaws in that. But if it's just a 1992 Mossberg Model 6, yeah, don't quote me on these terms because I'm not a gun guy.
Yeah,
there's such thing as a Mossberg Model 6 or whatever. Just some shotgun. You can't just hand him $200 and leave. He's a dealer. He had to fill out paperwork when he bought it from somebody at his gun shop. He filled out paperwork with the guy's name and address that he bought it from, so they can continue to track it in case I buy it and commit a crime. They know where it went.
Yeah. So, banned again. I don't think that's accurate.
That's changed.
Yeah. Because even to have like I had two 1860s Enfields from the Civil War.
Were they black powder?
Black powder, yeah. Percussion cap, so it's not flintlock. It was percussion cap then. So it's percussion cap, black powder, completely open bore, so you could drop a lead ball down there and it would be instantly a live firer. You still had to have a full shotgun license and a separate license for your black powder for that. And if you talk about... Sorry, go on.
No, you don't need that in the States.
No,
black powder's not regulated. You can literally go to Walmart and buy one.
Yeah. We had fun when we brought 80 American reenactors over to the UK, and they all brought their muskets. You should see the paperwork to get 80 muskets through an airport. It's unreal.
My God. And then trying to get back again.
Yeah, this was before 9/11, so it was it wasn't as strict as it is now, but it was still an absolute nightmare. And when you talk about World War I, World War II pistols are legal to own, that's not accurate either, because yeah, they've got to be deactivated. They are completely blocked, because an M1911 is pre-World War II, you know, so and that's a semi-automatic pistol sort of thing.
Yeah, you're doing 5 years for that.
Yeah, definitely. So it's not like it used to be.
No.
So, just to give you an idea, Jeff, what it's like here, like you were saying about paperwork and different things. So, there's two different things. One section 1, one section 2. Section 2 would be shotguns, which have got a capacity of 2 + 1. So 1 in the receiver, 2 in the tube, basically. You don't have to show good reason per se, but they would generally ask if you're a member of a clay pigeon club, something like that. And it's one reference. You need a referee who's known you for a period of time. You have to fill out a form. You have to give another part of the form to your doctor, who's got to fill it out. And then you send all of that to the police, who will then come to your home and they will check your home, speak to you, do an interview, check your gun. Yeah, check your gun safe's approved. They'll try and pull it off the wall. And if that's okay, then they will issue a shotgun certificate. And it's not lax, but less stringent than Section 1. So you can have as many shotguns as you like, basically. And
yeah, but can you have the ammo in the same safe with it?
Don't even need a safe for shotgun ammo unless it's
okay.
slug. That's how bollocks it is. You could have pallets of it lying about in your house, although you'd be in the shit if it get nicked because you're responsible for the security, but you don't require a safe. Section 1 is different. So if you wanted a long rifle, bolt action, say a straight pulley R15 for talk's sake, you would have to be a member of a club or have land and show good reason to use it. The police will authorise 1 rifle of each calibre, right? Perhaps more if you've got better reason, but they'll basically tell you how many guns you can have, what calibre you can have, because you've got to justify it, and then they will tell you how many rounds you're allowed to store at home, and it's got to be in a separate locked ammunition safe. Pistols per se is a non-starter unless it's over 23 inches. So what they generally do is have a big fuck off long barrel with a fake suppressor and a big long
way on the end.
Yeah. Band again said there's YouTube videos of 6 shooters that use black powder. Yeah, so with the same reenacting, we had the Army cult and the Navy cult from 1863, and they used black powder, and it's black powder and you put like a bit of cotton, it's almost like cotton wool that you put in the end, what they're called wonder wads, and that goes in and it fires and the flash comes out the end, and it's for reenacting purposes, but you still have to have a license for them.
Yeah, because you could use it for real balls if you wanted to.
Yeah, so it's so them ones you have to have the license for because they are straight through and it could shoot. You can get the similar that looks the same that takes the 9mm blanks that you don't need a license for because it's got a block on the end. You didn't used to have a license before. I think you might have to get like an Akara type realistic imitation firearm license now for it, but you never used to.
Can I just add one thing to that? What we're talking about, I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with the firearms laws in the UK at the moment. The AFOs when they turn up to your house is really good. Having doctors and background checks is also a good thing. I don't disagree with any of it. I think it's nice and safe as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because, like, I'm going from I think my class 1 soon, but because I'm ex-military, they're fast tracking me. So they've got me through like a sort of probation period sort of thing, and then fast tracking me through.
They don't do that, to be honest. There's no such thing as a fast track thing. There's nothing like that on the books. Just because I've seen I've seen some ex-military guys shooting, and it's like waving a metal walking stick about. I wouldn't trust them with a potato peeler. No, I don't mean that in a bad thing against you.
Right, so not on the books, you say, but when I was had the check for the shotgun license for the reenacting, he sat down and the first thing he said to me was like, what are you doing? Because I was young, I was like 17 sort of thing. He said, what are you doing? Oh, I'm joining the army, I've already passed the medical, I'm just waiting for like the date and I'm off. And he sort of thing, he went, oh, right, okay. And he just went down his little list, ticked a load of boxes, went, you'll be fine, and just walked off. And I'm thinking, you should have asked me a lot more questions, I'm sure.
Yeah, the army did that for him. He doesn't need to do that, but you didn't have to show any ID or paperwork that says that. You just could have said that, and okay, you're good. Have a nice day.
Yeah, yeah.
It's changed a lot.
Oh yeah,
for the benefit, I think. So yeah, now when they turn up, they'll go through your answers to the form. Even things as speeding fines and tickets or traffic violations in the last 10 years. The 6-year rule for criminal histories doesn't count either. They'll go back all the way, and they'll ask you questions. Shit, they spoke to my wife, so they just want to know you're not a nutcase. I think it's a good thing, but if for the fast track thing that you're talking about, it might be that because you're a member of an NRA approved rifle club like Mini Rifle, that your application will go quicker. But in some clubs and FAOs have got a 6 to 12 month waiting list before they're even coming to your home to do the home interview. It's a lot.
Yeah, I believe that was actually the case because they took me on a 2-2 range, I believe. Said, "Oh, you can shoot, that's fine." And obviously, we went down to a military range, which I've been to before anyway. And they were like, "Right, you know the flags, you know the procedures, that's fine." And I think that's the way they were going to sort of fast track it. I don't think it was like "Oh, you know what you're doing," just from what we heard. It was more like
Who did that? Sorry. Who took you to the range? Sorry.
My shooting club.
Aye, that's different. That's fine. It'll be so you'll have an NRA approved club. Yes. They generally do a 3-month probation, and then they'll give you a practical exam at the end. Gun safety stoppages, that kind of shit. So it's generally 3 months. You've got to do a minimum of 6 shoots in a 3-month period, and then they'll do a practical test at the end of it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
In Scotland, folks have been arrested for having a potato peeler outside. I believe it.
Believe that.
So it's funny with the background checks and that. So a friend of mine, sort of a friend, he's more of an acquaintance. He owns a gun store down in Virginia. I'm not going to say where. And I would hang out in there because I was working down there for years. I'd hang out with him. We just talk. And I bought a bunch of stuff from him and, rifles because I can cash and carry. And he just runs a background check. Boom, my background check was going. This is back during the ammo shortage and all the problems we were having here in the States. It's the funniest thing because like a couple of his customers would walk in and be like, "Yeah, I want to get that Glock, whatever it is." It's like, "Okay, fill out the paperwork." He hands them paperwork. They fill it out, and the guy just looks up at the owner and he's like, "I'll see you in about a week." And the owner's like, "Yep, probably." And those are the guys that had federal IDs with top secret clearance and stuff. It actually takes longer for theirs to go through because it goes through a different system. Once they get that top secret clearance, whatever number he puts on there, boom, it goes into a whole nother computer bank. And they got like lots of background checks there. And he just comes back in, picks it up like a week later. Me, my stuff goes through like 20 minutes. It's through. It's like, yeah, he's no threat. Just take it and get the fuck out of here.
I assume because of the limited number of officers that do these checks, they'll get to know you eventually, because I think the guy that came round to me knew my stepdad because of his collections sort of thing. So I assume they'll start to get a feel for people anyway. So the more you apply for, like, example, if you've already got so many things, it probably get easier and easier each time, right?
Well, they've changed it again. So here, our local area, it used to be you would have civilian employees would come out to do the home visit, who were generally ex-coppers. And then it was 7 police officers were coming out to do it. And now they've changed it again to civilians doing it, but generally they're ex-coppers.
It was definitely a uniformed officer that came round to me.
I was going to say, can I? Sorry to jump in very quickly. Next door to me has shotguns, and they come round while he was at work, and they actually told him on the phone, which I know's against the rules, is to say like, we need to see the safe. And he was telling me that legally you're not allowed to tell sort of your wife where the keys to the safe, but they were like, we need to see the safe. You're at work. That's it.
They generally won't do a home visit unannounced unless you've done something wrong or been accused of doing something wrong. They're too busy to do random checks 9 times out of 10. They don't generally do that. He's probably done something or been accused of doing something. The quickest way to have your firearms taken off you is if your wife knows where the keys are. And they will ask sometimes to see, and there will be just, if you don't give us the keys or don't tell us where they are, we'll cut the safe open. The wife panics, gives them the spare keys that she shouldn't know about, and they'll take your firearms off you. You'll get a prohibition notice. What do they call it? Revocation. You'll get a revocation.
That's me knackered, because without Mrs. Urban Prepper to tell me where my car keys are, I'd never drive. If I was responsible for the keys alone, it would never get opened because they'd be gone.
Well, you do have an electric car, so you just use the app to start it, right?
I can stick my air conditioning on as we speak.
I think the system is really good in the UK in terms of keeping things away from lunatics. On the rare occasion it's went wrong, it's generally because the licensing process that's in place has been circumvented or not applied properly. As in, had it been followed correctly, the people that had them that went nuts and did naughty shit couldn't have had them in the first place.
But on another note, obviously, criminals don't follow the law.
Yeah, but and you can argue the fact that you could be the most reasonable law-abiding citizen ever, and in 3 weeks' time, something could switch, right? And that's probably what happened, and the reason we can't have pistols now, because of what happened with that guy.
Yeah,
Thomas Hamilton.
Yeah.
So the guy in Dunblane, there was lots of warning flags about him to start with, and had the system in place been followed correctly, they would have been taken off him. It was a terrible tragedy. Should never have happened, and it was avoidable.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know any history behind him. I just didn't know, all I knew is my stepdad's angry face as he had to hand in his pistols to the amnesty.
Yeah.
with no monetary compensation whatsoever, by the way.
You can still fire pistols, it's just they look ridiculous.
Yeah, they've got the weight on the back, haven't they? Sorry.
There is a company, I can't remember the name, it's some engineering company in England. So the guy buys in revolvers they're less than 23 inches, and they don't have the fake bit on the end. But what they are is muzzle loading black powder pistols. But he buys them as a kit and modifies the cylinders, and you've got the jig to press it in. And you can buy the cylinders for like £300, so you've got ready reloads, and it looks like a normal revolver, but it's a black powder, technically muzzle loader. And he does lots of different things. I can't remember the name. I've got it my favourites.
But in all fairness, honestly, gents, there's enough out there where like everybody says you're unarmed, but compressed air. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's enough out there to where you can go. If I need to defend myself into, for instance, a hallway or a ginnelway, it can be done.
Yeah, there's ways to defend yourself even unarmed and stuff like that. But I think what a lot of people don't realise and take for granted in this country, and we have a lot of preppy channels that basically watched an American prepper channel and thought, I could do exactly the same over here, and they try it, and it doesn't work out like that. And what people don't realise over here is the number of people that do have licenses. If it was a complete breakdown of law and order, this is all theoretical, by the way, this is all opinion, this is not real. But if it's a complete breakdown in law and order, you've got not just God knows how many license holders. How many? There's loads in Scotland alone, isn't there, Brian?
84,000.
Yeah, there you go. So as well as that many weapons that are suddenly just there and available, you've got military bases that are fully equipped and police stations that are equipped and stuff like that. It's not going to be a case of we're just all going to be running around with sticks and stones. There's going to be people that are very, very dangerous. That's why when somebody said about defending themselves with a pellet gun and stuff like that, you're running the risk of provoking somebody who is a lot more armed than you, and it's more common in this country that people actually realise.
Sorry, but are they gonna? Are they? Sorry. How do I put this? Are they going
Carefully.
to realise that it's going to happen, and they're going to take the guns first, or is
That's
it going to happen
possible.
so quick where it's going to be like we can't handle the situation, we're out?
Genuinely, I don't think it would happen in this country anyway. But I've
Yeah.
said it on a recent video. Civil war is a ridiculous concept for this country. In places like the States, and you see the Hollywood movies like the Civil War and stuff like that. You see the reason behind it as you've got states that would secede and they have their own technical military with like a national guard and stuff like. We have nothing like that. Government forces are the only forces, and no matter how many license holders you have and how many farmers want to stick up for them, they're never going to compete with government forces in this country. It just wouldn't happen. What would happen is civil unrest, is riots, is stuff like that, is stuff that we've already seen. They might class that as a civil war, but it would never happen. We're not armed in the way we were during the War of the Roses and stuff like that.
So I think one of the biggest differences is over there. Yeah, to get any permit and all that. Oh, your crap is registered and it is in a system.
Yeah.
So if they want to and say, okay, you know what, let's just go get everything. They could technically do that because they know who you are, what you got, and where you are. 99% or 90%. I'm sure there's a bunch out there that doesn't register anything and just have it. But in the States, like I said, when you buy something, that paperwork stays with the dealership. Now, not the dealership, but the dealer. And they don't know. Yes, they know you applied to get it. They just said, yeah, he's okay. He's not a threat. They don't know what I'm buying. They just don't. They don't have a list of it. Now, the rub problem on that is when a dealer goes out of business, all those books have to go to the ATF. Now the ATF has a record of it. So I'm good as long as the guy I bought my stuff from stays in business. After that, the ATF now has every copy of everything if they want to go through every single piece of paper. And he's probably got a couple 100,000 pieces of paper in his hand scribble that he can read, and some people can read. The AI is going to have a hell of a time figuring it out. And but my words, my letters and stuff on the paperwork are pretty clear. So, I mean, there's that. So yeah, there's not going to be some big gun grab over here or anything like that anytime soon. They could say, hey, okay, like Australia did, if you have one and you don't turn it in and we find out, you're going to jail. So everybody just runs and turns them in. Over here, if they said something like that, yeah, I'm sure you get a bunch of libs that would be like, oh, yeah, here's my BB gun. Oh, here's my little 22. It's like, that's great. The rest of us are like, yeah, I got nothing. I lost in a boating accident.
Yeah.
Bury the wood somewhere and hide it or whatever. I mean, there's all
the words cold dead hands come to mind.
Yeah, that's what I say. You guys have 87,000 permits over there. Okay, that might mean on the average, 1.7 guns per person. So 150,000 guns over there. Over here, yeah, there's probably 150,000 guns just in my town.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, everybody is just, not everybody, but a lot of people, the good ones. I mean, the ones that are like, we just like to have them. I like to go play. I go to my buddy's farm. I go to my property. We just like to shoot paper.
This is the thing. The restrictions and the guidance and everything they put in place only works on law-abiding citizens.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the biggest thing they always come up with. They're like, you need to turn it. You can't have a magazine that holds more than 5. It's like, really? Why? Well, because then you could be a criminal and go blah blah blah, do a mass thing somewhere. It's like I'm the one who has my crap in a safe.
Yeah, it was same over here with knives. They banned zombie knives, right? Okay, and the whole ban's ridiculous, right? And they based it round, oh, this is because it's like what they use because it's street cred and stuff like that. And they're banning these ridiculous machetes with points on them and gaps in them, and I get that,
And if
no
you can't
problem.
have a 12-inch chef knife.
But my friend had to cut off he's got a Rambo knife, like a signed Rambo knife in a case kind of thing, and he had to cut the blade off just so he could keep the handle in the sheath so it looks like it, so he doesn't lose the display piece. He had to destroy that because of these laws. And you're telling me that when they brought that law in, that loads of roadmen from the cities came up and went, oh yeah, okay, here's my zombie. No, they didn't, because they're not the law-abiding citizens.
Exactly.
This is the point. It only affects collectors and real law-abiding citizens.
Yeah,
Paddy,
those are the weapons that'll never cause a problem in crime.
Yeah. Paddy Mays said, we are too controlled as a society. If there's a breakdown in law and order, the ordinary people are fucked. The police won't deploy. And then says, WTF, civil war is so near. I get the feeling of civil war is so near, but it's the logistics of it. It's the logistics of like that happening over here is what I'm saying is arguable.
Is more near than
exactly.
War.
But and they'll call that a civil war and they'll call it a rebellion. But at the end of the day, if it got to that scale, it would be squished. UK Gov is not coming to our aid, Mike, or police or anyone. I agree with you. Look, I have available on the store. No one is coming to save you. I'm fully aware of that one. You have to be your own first responder. Go on.
I agree, but what they've got to bear in mind is statements made with good intentions online can cause problems to law-abiding hobbies. So if somebody makes silly statement, not silly, a well-intentioned off-the-cuff remark about in a hypothetical scenario, I do this as a hobby, so I would use this for this nefarious purpose, right? That would almost certainly land you in the shit, and whatever pastime that you used to enjoy, you will no longer enjoy it because it would not to be deemed to be a good reason or you'd be a fit person. So avoid such topics like the fucking plague.
Yeah. Don't run around the Welsh countryside with airsoft guns either.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. Even if he gets caught doing that, if he puts somebody in a state of alarm and distress, the fact that it's fake doesn't matter. If people perceive it to be real, the offence is just as valid as having the real thing. He's a fucking moron. Excuse the language. It annoys me that because it could affect people who legitimately follow the rules and don't want to land all of us in the shit.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's a topic that can be spoke about sensibly. Because I'm sure down at the local gun club, they all talk about, the laws and stuff like that. It's just because of people like that, it makes it into that taboo. Brian, did you not sort your light out, says Storage Mouse. We can see it flickering in Disco Brian's prep shed.
Here's the thing, it could be on for an hour, 2 hours, and there's no problem. And then it starts doing that again. So...
The UK government the UK will go to civil war if the government does not wake up and sort out it's no doubt it will. It can't. How?
I don't see that as likely.
It's what you're talking about is a feeling, right? And I understand it, all right? And I understand the frustration and whichever side of the fence you call, let's say red and blue, right? And we'd say left or right, red and blue, whatever it is, whatever makes that divide, whether it's religion, anything like that. Whatever side of the fence you fall on is irrelevant because there's no logistics on that side. The government have everything. They have the military, they have the police, they have control over the citizenship more than most other countries, unfortunately.
So that's a difference over here. Like the military, okay, it's government. The state police is state government. The town police is town government. The sheriffs are elected, and we elect them.
Yeah.
And I know my sheriff, and I know most of the sheriff's deputies. Not personally, but I've talked to him, said hi to him at the local convenience store, getting coffee. Hell, I've bought him dinner and lunch. Most of them run the prisons around here, and I know those. And I walk over to whoever at the restaurant I'm at, and I'll be like, hey, how many people are at that table? They're like 5. I was like, what's their bill? They're like $60. I was like, I'll pay for it. Just don't tell them it was me.
Yeah.
And they're like, they walk over and say, somebody paid for your lunch. And they look around like, who did that? And meanwhile, I'm picking up a pizza. And they look at me, and I just sort of look. I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, whatever. I just don't want them to know it's me because I'm not looking for favors.
No,
But
just keeping them on
I
side.
appreciate my sheriffs. If they were state police. Now I know a couple state troopers. I like them personally, but the branch they work for, I don't like because they're just arrogant.
See, that's the thing though, because you do have that over here. There's no such thing as that. Our local councils, let's say, like our constituents, the only thing they govern is when your bins get picked up, right? And how many potholes don't get filled. They don't have any control over the police. They don't have any control over the armed forces in the area, even if there's a TA base down the road or a military base down the road. They have no control whatsoever. Everything is at national level, not state, not town.
Yeah,
Everything.
The only thing you could do is actually know one of your local constabularies, whatever, personally.
Yes.
That's all. Yeah. That's all you got. That's literally all you got. Everything else, no. If you don't know the guy, forget it. You're done.
And I'm not sure if it's the same in all areas, but for example, Manchester, if you live in Manchester, the city, you can't be an officer there. So you'll be an officer, but you'll be down the road at a Lancashire one or a Bolton one.
Yeah, they don't want you to know. Not like in this country. Yeah. They prefer you know your local people because that's what breeds trust and all that stuff. But over there, it's like, nope, they don't want you to know anybody. They want to make sure that they know you're in control and you're the boss, and they don't want, no friends. I get it.
Me personally, I don't feel like at all. I mean, again, it depends who you're watching. Like, I can walk out and go to the shops. I can drive into town. I can do whatever I need to do. I can prep my preps. There's no hostility anywhere, unless me personally, you're looking not at it, but for it online, or it's suggested to you, for instance.
Yeah, it's very area dependent though. It depends where you are and stuff like that. There is a lot worse areas and stuff like that. So,
I grew up in Manchester since I was born till I was 18. Joined the military. Jumped out at 24. I mean, still go into Manchester, and I don't feel unsafe. It's not like I can still walk round.
Yeah. No, and you can, and it's a nice city to do so if anybody wants to visit. But would you walk around Cheetham Hill with the same relaxed attitude?
I've bought knockoff shirts from Cheetham Hill at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, okay, that says more about you than the area, but you understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying, though, right? There's areas like Moss Side, Cheetham Hill. There's places like that. They're not as bad as they used to be, and there's different areas and it moves around and stuff like that. But there is areas like that. But yeah, it generally, unless you go looking for it, I understand what you're saying.
Me personally, I just think it's sometimes as well. It's what you're being fed. It's sort of like what YouTube is feeding you. If you know.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Your algorithm. It's like I can walk out and literally walk to town and go, and not have any disturbances. There's no one messing around. There's no one trying to take my wallet. It's sort of a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, and it does happen. The crime does happen, and people do get the wallets nicked and stuff like that. It's not completely, it's a bit of situational awareness never goes amiss.
Oh, of course.
But it's how it's painted by other people, 100%. And I mean, my algorithm's like that, right? Because I do research on different topics, so I get like a million different right-wing, left-wing videos coming up from extremists from both sides constantly on my feeds. Not that I'm following these people, but it's, the rabbit holes you go down when you're doing research. And you can see if somebody only saw that constantly, why they'd have that opinion.
Well, that's it, and unfortunately, it's a lot of prepping channels as well. I mean, it's like doomsday's coming. Stock food now. Ready. It's like just
But fear sells.
Yeah,
of course it does, yeah.
he's right. He's right, and you've got there's a fine line, right? So I mean, I've been accused of fear mongering when I've done videos, and I have done videos recently, like on the
Shocking.
UK preparing for war, because it is all over mainstream media. So it's what's
Funky
trending,
Mikey.
right? I can easily make you disappear. You know this, right?
Oh, I've been devoted. Well, what for?
I want you below me.
Well, you're only human.
But yeah, I've been accused of it, and I try to emphasize the point. This is not it, but you do have to be aware. There's a fine line between getting trapped in a fear trap of fear mongering, and also you've got the other side of that of burying your head in the sand, right? So if you're wandering around and looking at the butterflies the whole time, you won't see it until the missile is here, right? So you've got to keep your... I don't know how you say it, but you
got to live in the middle. You can't live in fear. And some of us did that when we all first started. And I guarantee pretty much everybody did. The first time, me too.
Goddamn NY prepper.
Yeah, the first time you decided, oh my God, I think I need to start like stockpiling stuff. It was because something scared you into it, and your focus went right there. I mean, I was buying beef jerky, I was buying canned goods, I was buying things I knew would last at least a couple of years, thinking it would last me 50 years, but it doesn't, obviously. And I did that for like 2 years, and then 2001 hit, or 2000 Y2K hit, and then 2012 came around, and I bought 5-gallon buckets and rice and stuff and did all that stuff. And then that never happened. And then I'm like, okay, I need to calm the hell down. Let me just get into food preserving. And I did. I get into canning. I do freeze drying. Well, I didn't do freeze drying until about 3-4 years ago. I was just doing everything food, but I eat the stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't prep stuff and buy stuff that I'm not going to eat just because, it's on sale. Let me get a bunch of this stuff. And you wind up throwing it out because it goes bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I buy what I need now. Even my wife's on the same page, and we talk about it. She's like, I found canning jars on sale. I'm like, sweetie, I don't need any more canning jars. I got probably like 1,000 of them right now that aren't being used. I got like 800 on the shelf that we haven't eaten the food yet. So, no.
So, curious, you've made that transition into like extreme, I'm just prepping for the sake of prepping, into like, I'm just doing what I do sort of thing, and it's a bit more relaxed. Do you still keep an eye or a hand in these news channels?
But I don't live in fear.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch the news. I see what's going on. I was watching a live stream last night. That was yours, of what's going on in Ukraine. And I'm like, I went on Rumble. I'm on Rumble. I don't have I have a channel, but I don't have anything there. I just go on there and I'm watching everybody else's. I'm commenting on everybody's quote unquote live feed, which apparently hardly any of them are actual live feeds. They're just playing a video and live. And I'm commenting, is anybody even talking about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia right now? Crickets, nothing, nobody. I asked a friend of mine down in Florida. I was like, have you seen this? He's like, I haven't heard of peep. I went on the news. I was on Google. I was on YouTube. I was everywhere just looking for anything. No, the only news was the bombers being hit by that drone swarm. That was it.
Does that see? I've noticed that this time more than anything, with everything that happened last night, the news that they have mentioned it eventually, but at the time it's quiet and it's still not being mentioned that much.
They need somebody to tell them what story to spin about what's going on. They can't just live hop on like we thought they were doing in oh crap, I can't remember half the names of the wars in the Middle East when we went after Saddam Hussein and all that. Desert Storm. When they're on there and they're like, oh, there's bombs coming. Turns out those assholes were in a studio. And we found, Alex Jones, God love him, God hate him. I don't know. He put a bunch of stuff on there and you look into it, it's like, oh my God, he was right. Other stuff, it's like, okay, that's a little far-fetched, but whatever. I mean, I take everything with a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. I watch stuff, I read stuff, I hear stuff. I look into it. Yeah. I don't just jump and be like, oh my God, did you see this article from some random newspaper in Utah about what's going on in the Middle East. Why would some random paper in Utah have this information? They're just looking for likes and hits and buttons and followers.
But that's how these channels work as well. So like,
Oh, yeah.
I got sucked into NY Prepper stuff, and full respect for him as a YouTuber and stuff like that. This is no beef whatsoever. But it was like emergency alert and red alert every single day sort of thing, and I kind of got sucked down that rabbit hole of listening to it, and then they'll get one thing right, and that suddenly gives them credibility on everything.
Like
not
CP,
the 27 things they got wrong, you know.
I'm not going to say his full name because I don't want to give him any credit, but CP, we all knew who he is.
Yeah.
Has big store, big following, all this stuff. Oh, every night, get your crap together. It's coming now. Here we are. Buy my shit. And he's always in his store, and he always has shelves in the back. And I'm not here to sell anything. I'm just letting you know this is your World War III update. It's like, I'll watch it sometimes. Most of the time, I'm laughing because the stuff he talks about half the time, the way you have to listen to the way they say stuff. Excuse me, is this is probable, the most likely thing, and everything is in a gray area. But they try to spin it like the news of this is going on, this is gonna happen. Prepare now, you're gonna die. It's like, dude, if there's 25 meteors coming straight at this planet from some other planet that has a bunch of big worms on it, yeah, you're dead. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Try to raid a spaceship or a starship, hop on it so you can get off the planet, and then what? You only have freaking 3 weeks worth of food and no place to go. You're going to die of oxygen problems. Whoops.
Yeah. Slower and more difficult death.
Well, that's the thing when you go down. I mean, I've been down the rabbit hole. I've been down probably every rabbit hole, to be fair. Just because I was bored. But
hi, Kelly.
It's the same as Scottish normally says. Like, I mean, personally, I look out the window and I go, everybody's walking the dog, everybody's going to the shops. It's like,
but this is this is the thing though. They will still be walking the dog and going to the shops when it is happening.
Yeah, but
there were literally bodies falling out of the sky, and they're just walking around the bodies with their dog, picking up the poop, looking, going, "Oh, look, Rex. There's another body laying on the ground. I wonder how that got there."
No, that's fine. But my thing is if you're prepping, if you've got your prep sort of straight, if you like listen to Mike, Scottish chef yourself, if you're sort of squared away, then why are you worried?
Well, I mean, yeah, and this is what we encourage, but you're not going to get rid of the worry kind of thing. But you've got to learn to just take it as it comes.
So now we see if something's started to take over again, Mike. I'm kind of ADHD.
No, it's okay.
if and I'll admit it. If we see something definitely coming, I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, the writing's on the walls and it's in freaking indelible ink and it ain't coming off. We know it's coming. We know the neighbors may sort of know something's coming because of the news, but we know what we know. We're not worried about, oh my God, I got to run to the store and buy this stuff. It's like, okay, where's my kids? Where's my wife? Where's my family? Where's my best friend? Where's my stuff? Do I have everything? Yeah, I got more than what I need. Where is the stuff? How accessible is it? Am I going to have to leave? I mean, these are all the last minute worries and stress things we have, but we don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if something's going to happen in my state, whatever happened, I can't even begin to, we can go down a million rabbit holes. I'm not. If something big's going to happen and I'm going to have to leave and I know about it, like, I don't care if it's 2 hours ahead of time. The more time you have, to gather more stuff, but you got to start with your immediate needs. I mean, paperwork, some food, water, and have a place to go.
Yeah.
Of course, all the roads are going to be packed, so you're kind of screwed anyway. So that's that.
There's only one guarantee, right? There's only one guarantee. There's only one absolute, right?
Yeah, death and
plans.
Tax. Well,
plans. Yeah, death and taxes definitely. But plans fail, right? Plans fail.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Failure to plan is planning to fail. If you don't plan for a failure, you still have no plan.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's about. I mean, that's why we try and emphasize skill sets over everything you can buy from CP Store. That's why we encourage like community over gadgets and stuff like that. It's not about buying all the stuff in the world sort of thing, because you might have to change everything. You could be the ultimate prepped for a flood, and it's a fire that takes you down because you had no preps for a fire, right?
You could be prepped for everything, and you're out at the store with nothing, figuring, it's a nice sunny day, it's beautiful, nothing's going on in the world, and you're 40 miles from your house or whatever, kilometers, and all of a sudden, crap hit the fan instantly. You got nothing. You better be able to figure out what you can do right then to either retrieve your family if you have family, retrieve your dog if you have a dog, if you're worried about it, and okay, this just happened. I'm not in the death zone, but my house is. So am I going to fight to try to get back to get my stuff, or am I just going to figure out what to do now? I mean, this is the skills you need to learn. Is like, look around, what's around you. I do that with Jaron all the time. I did one of those with him. Do a mental inventory of just generally what's around you all the time. You don't have to sit there and dwell on it, but understand what you're looking at. It's like, okay, I need something to do this. Where did I see that last? Oh, I remember seeing those in the back of a hotel in their pool room. Yeah, that's where that chlorine powder is. I need some of that. Find a hotel that has a swimming pool. Going back, I guarantee you the rest of the population, they're going into the supermarket. Ain't nobody breaking into a hotel to go in their swimming pool area.
They're raiding Gregson's shoe zone in this country.
Yeah,
they're already
walking out
rioting.
with flat screen TVs, whatever.
Yeah, but again, that's more situational awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Which is key.
Yeah, but that's what keeps a level of worry there, because that situational awareness is a form of, like, I'm worrying of what could happen, but it's under control. Yeah, right. It's not panicking. Yeah, a slight worry, a concern is okay. Panic is not. Right?
If you live in a
anxiety
panic,
is fair.
Yeah, and with regards to the fear mongering on YouTube channels, done in moderation can be a good thing if it encourages 10 more people to start prepping.
Yeah.
As long as it's done in moderation, don't have a channel dedicated to going, you're all going to die, you're all going to die, you're all going to die. Just every so often put a video out saying, this is why we prep. The videos I do like that are in a playlist called Reasons We Prep, Reasons to Prep. It's separate from shopping videos and stuff like that and all the actual tools. So if you don't want any of that, you don't have to go in that playlist. It's very simple. So they do have their place, I think, in moderation.
The problem you've got is that fundamentally, if there was no market for fear porn, it wouldn't be so successful as it is. Fundamentally, we've got three types of, I'll call it, the big pool of preppers. Ones that don't even come in the pool, who don't give a shit. The sheep who walk through life, somebody else is going to fix anything that goes wrong, and everything's sunshine and lollipops. Right?
The government will save me.
In the UK, that's 95% of the population.
That's everywhere.
And when you go to the world at large, the most popular YouTube channels by a mile are the ones that scare the shit out of people on a daily basis.
The media learned that decades or centuries ago. Fear
and I can only assume that's because that's what people want.
That's right.
That's what they want. They want to be scared, shocked, and that adrenaline surge. Oh shit, something's gone wrong. What's fucked up in the world now, right? And people
they're on top of it forever,
yeah,
and that's too.
They love it. I don't go in for that at all. But a lot of the channels that do that, so just Nate's channel, right? The problem is he's got a lot of good stuff buried behind the nuggets of shit. So I don't say don't watch their stuff, because a lot of their things have got value, but it's just buried behind all the fear porn that generates the income.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look at it this way. When was the last time you turned on, none of us really turn on TV anymore, but just think about it. You turn on the TV and hear news flash. I'll run a story line. I'm just making up as I go. Two of them. News flash, fire department, 12 trucks show up downtown, and they got you going. Now they're like, oh my God, what's going on? They finally got the cat. And everybody goes, oh, and everybody else turns it off. And what the hell was waiting to see, like, shit blowing up and fires and that? and that's how they roll. You don't see
Have you
the
seen-
story. Man saves cat from getting hit by a car. You see a couple of YouTube videos and stuff, but nobody watches that. They'd rather watch the man throws dog into traffic live on video. Everybody wants to see it. You don't want to see this. Oh, I got to see this. Oh, it's terrible. And you see it. You can never unsee it. But it's something to the brain that makes you just want more of that. Not the good feeling stories. Not the, this cat was stuck in a tree for 3 weeks after a hurricane, and some little boy finally found a pair of climbing spikes and climbed up, and he got scratched, but he's okay. Saved the cat. The grandma is happy because the cat is now back in her arms. You don't see this shit anymore. They don't want to play because it doesn't sell.
No.
Have you watched Anchorman 2 by any chance?
Yes.
Right. One of the things in that, they're trying to make their news channel successful. And they're like, well, why do we have to report the news? The news is boring. Why don't we just tell them what they want to hear? Right? That is YouTube and prepper channels 99% across the board. And that is the news, like Chef's saying there as well. That nobody reports the news. They report what they think people want to hear. And that is largely doom, gloom, shock factor. And that's fundamentally why fear and doom and gloom pepper channels are so successful, because that is whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, that's what people want to see. They don't want to sit here on a Friday night and listen to anything that might have a slight nugget of approval or help, or it'll be very low numbers. But if you put on it,
sorry, go
what's
on.
that, mate?
I was just going to say that's why so many people are disillusioned when they start a channel and they've got 150 subscribers and they're looking at people that have got 100,000 and they're thinking, well, why can't I get like that? But their channel's got a lot of value and they're giving real good knowledge, but they're not doing the sales side of it, right?
Yep. And then you see the train journey. And the train journey starts out like that. Good, well-intentioned content, and then they'll get into the monetized zone. Not everybody, but more often than not, gets into the monetized zone, then they'll get some freebies. Then it will be some advertising revenue, some sponsorship. And all the well-intentioned, honourable ways of getting into the channel with the good intentions, that slowly starts to fade as it becomes more dependent on paid reviews, all this sort of shit, all the way through.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much across the board how it goes.
Well, you can actually watch, if you go to any channel, not Mike's, I love Mike. If my channel, forget
you
it.
can say it. You can say it.
I have like 20.
Mike,
I've
work for
never dug through your channel all the way to the beginning. So, but I see other channels that
No, you're not.
for years. All of a sudden, 10 years ago, it's just a picture of a plate of food, for their thumbnail. And it's a picture of a tree with me leaning against it. It's a picture of this, a picture of that. Now, all of a sudden, they get monetized. The pictures, their thumbnails are now me standing there with my mouth wide open, holding a raggedy bag of food. And the big picture, the big words are, don't ever do this, because they're trying to get more people in. And meanwhile, you watch your video, it's like, dude, that was bullshit.
Yep.
And I don't subscribe. I unsubscribe. I'm like, I'm fucking done.
Right. So, there's logic behind this, right? So if you search anything on YouTube, how to cook a potato, right? A sea of thumbnails appear. And there's a psychology of getting of people centering their eyes.
Video. No, watch my video. Yeah, it's like a farmer's market.
So I do that. I'm a graphic designer and a web developer by trade. So it's not like a massive task for me, but I do that based on that. I try to keep it on topic. I don't do the ones where you see a completely scantily clad bikini girl there holding an M4, and then when you load it up, it's a 60-year-old guy cleaning a musket sort of thing. I try to keep it on topic of what it's about. But you do have to. It's such a flooded market, YouTube. If you want to get the attention, you do have to do the thumbnail for that side of things. But just keeping it on topic, right?
Guess I'm just going to have to show a bit more flesh, mate. Get the old chest wig out. the medallion.
I mean, there's a homesteader I follow who went and lived off grid with his missus, and they've got a very, very successful channel now. Every thumbnail is his missus in a low cut short top and shorts, swinging an axe with a bead of sweat ring down the back of her leg or something like that. And then in the video,
That
it's
is
more.
What channel is this so that I can avoid it, Mike?
That's why I make sure I check it out so I never go there again.
No, but when you get into the videos, she's in it, but only very bit parts. Mostly, it's him with his shirt off doing stuff and doing tasks around the homestead sort of thing. It's purely to get people through the door, right? It's the sale. It's the big sale sign in the window, and then you go in, and the sale section is a rack this big, and everything else is overpriced. That's what it is.
Is that not like when you get married, though? It's the same principle.
Well, I mean, that's taken to the extreme. It's more like, you know, pulling somebody at a club, and then when she wakes up, her face is still on the pillow.
So many jokes, so many ways to demonetize you. I'm not even going to go there. On that note, God knows I need my beauty sleep. It's been a blast, and I will catch
Oh, yeah, that's
you
right.
all
It's late for you guys over there. It's only 7 o'clock here for me, p.m. I'm gonna make. My wife just got home. I'm gonna make dinner. Unless you want to, Mike, if you want to cut it off quick, I'll take you downstairs and show you a couple. I'll show Scottish Prepper a few things.
Yeah, can do. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been 2 hours. That's a long stream for us. Don't forget this Sunday, Preppers Fireside. All the preps you need for World War III. There's your clickbait right there. So make sure you come and check us out on that. Big thanks to Mark, Chef Tech. Go and check out his channel. Hopefully Miss Worms posted it in the chat. Preparing the Path and Scottish Prepper for joining me. So if you all just want to shout bye, guys, I will end it.
Bye, guys.